Reading through Parshat Titzaveh, everything seems to make sense until you get to the last couple of psukim, the last few verses. Out of nowhere, we're back to building Kalim. You see, Parshat Truma discusses the commandment to build a Mishkan. That's to build the sanctuary where HaKadosh Baruch Hu Hashem will dwell. And it tells us to build an aron. You got to build the ark, and you build a mizbeach, you build an altar, and it tells you to build a structure. Great. Parshat Titzaveh, this week's parsha, discusses the clothing that the Kohen and the Kohen Gadol would wear while performing the avodah in the Mishkan and the Beis HaMikdash. That is until you get to the end of the parsha. All of a sudden, we're back into the tzivah, into the commandment of building the mizbeach hazav, the altar that was in the kodesh, along with the menorah and the shulchan. Comes the tzivah here at the end of the Parshat Mizbeach. What's it doing here? It doesn't belong here. It belongs back in Parshat Teruma. What's it doing here in Parshat Titzaveh? The point of the Mishkan, the point of the Beis HaMikdash was to bring karbanos, to bring sacrifices. Now, our first in the beginning of Parshas Vayikra points out that sacrifice is actually the wrong word. It's not a sacrifice. Karban is from the root of karev, to become close. Kirva, to get close to Hashem. The point of a karban is to bring us closer to Hashem. Now, close is great, but part of being close means you're not connected. You're close, you're nearby, but you haven't yet connected. So a karban can bring us closer to Hashem, but it doesn't actually connect us. There's something though that can connect us. Ketores, the incense that burned on this mizbeach. Ketores is a knot. In Aramaic, a kesher, a knot, is a keter. Kuf tes resh is a knot. That means the ketores has the ability to tie the knot, to make that connection more than your average karban. So says the Lubavitch Rebbe that after we go through the parshas of Truma and we talk about all the kelim that were needed to build in the Mishkan, and it talks about all the parts, the clothing used in the avodah, in the service of Hashem, we come to the end. At the end, you know what? That'll all bring you close. That'll be a karban that brings you close to Hashem. But what connects you? That's the ketores. That's why it's at the end. Great. Question. What is it about the ketores that connects us? Why is it different than a karban, an oila, chatas, an asham? That bring us close. What is it about the ketores, about the incense that allows us to connect to Hashem? So I don't know. That's what I was thinking. Let me share with you what I'm thinking. There were 11 spices that were part of the incense. One of them was called chelbana. Now Rashi has a problem with this in next week's parsha. He says chelbana smells terribly. It's a reichan ra. It smells bad. So why are you bringing it in? Why are you bringing this as part of the incense? So Rashi tells us to teach us an important lesson. That when you're coming on a fast, that you're coming in a tefillah, you're coming in a prayer to Hashem, don't leave out the Paisha Yisrael. Those rebellious ones amongst your nation. Allow them to join you in prayer. And I remember when I was down in Miami once for Pesach in the uptown in a place called the Shul, I forgot the Rav's name, but he would bring in prisoners for the Pesach Seder. Don't refrain from bringing in Paisha Yisrael. So perhaps this is what allows us to connect to Hashem. You see, as long as we're not connected with our brethren, with Achenu B'nai Yisrael, if we don't feel that connection to other Jewish people that are Tzelem Elikim, that are created in the image of God, then how is God going to connect to us? But when He sees us connecting to each other, He's ready to connect to us. So the ketores is how we tie the knot with Hashem. We tie that knot by tying the knot amongst ourselves. We bring God into the Mishkan.